Does our current understanding truly encompass the enigma of life? Does the relentless march of scientific progress signify the eradication of all mysteries, leaving nothing concealed? When Darwin first unveiled his theory of evolution, it catalyzed the assimilation of a Western ethos centered on the principle of competition, founded upon the conviction that only the most resilient can endure the crucible of existence. Power and affluence emerged as the symbols of individual prowess, while poverty and a sense of alienation came to symbolize weakness. Moreover, Einstein's theory of relativity, which has been firmly established in our era, has left a discernible impact, albeit misinterpreted at times. It fostered the belief that everything was relative, including notions as profound as freedom, well-being, ethics, and equity. Undoubtedly, these transformations aren't solely the offspring of scientific revelations. Rather, they mirror the concealed drive for control intrinsic to the contemporary scientific paradigm. Today, every facet of our actions is steeped in the ramifications of scientific cogitation, reflecting the pervasive motivation for mastery that permeates our endeavors. Henceforth, for quite some time, an increasing number of eminent scientists have shifted their gaze in a different direction. Rather than adhering to Caesar's maxim, divide et impera, which entails the dissection of life and its intricate functions into ever smaller, isolatable components, they endeavor to fathom the collective impact of intricate network systems. These systems endow indivisible identity and distinctiveness to grand entities such as organisms, the Earth, human societies, or the entirety of nature. The profound implications of this evolving comprehension are presently reshaping the very essence of human thought. Slowly but surely, individuals are gravitating back towards a worldview that predates the advent of modern scientific methodologies and concepts. Following Capra's Tao of Physics, a multitude of books have graced our shelves, all subtly suggesting a convergence between the realms of science and spiritual principles. When one draws comparisons between the intricate mandalas of antiquity and the graphical representations of elementary particle symmetries, a compelling revelation emerges. Both realms of thought are rooted in the same fundamental principles. Furthermore, the striking parallels between the elemental structure of the genetic code and the wisdom embedded within the I Ching ignite a glimmer of optimism, as they pave the way for a potential fusion of age-old spiritual wisdom with the groundbreaking discoveries of modern science. On one hand, science appears to draw nearer to the millennia-old wisdom of spiritual traditions, such as the ancient Indian Vedas and the path of Buddhism. On the other hand, it relentlessly seeks to coax from nature her deepest enigmas, or to subject those enigmas to the yoke of mechanistic interpretation. While science offers a multitude of intriguing hints at harmonies between quantum physics, the theory of relativity, chaos theory, and complexity theory, which, in earlier times, might have been seen as spiritual resonances, it nevertheless endeavors to distill these harmonies into the machinery of systems solely constituted of material substance. The concern arises that in a world bereft of mysteries, there may no longer be room for spiritual concepts like consciousness, the soul, free will, and God, given the pursuit of a comprehensive scientific exposition of the natural world. These concepts may not just seem extraneous but even at odds with the prevailing scientific worldview. Will modern science consign these spiritual notions to obsolescence, breathe fresh life and significance into them, or will they endure as indomitable, unassailable spiritual constructs within the tapestry of scientific understanding? We shall delve into this inquiry and posit that science must find its footing upon a spiritual bedrock, within the context of an encompassing spiritual science that allocates it a precise role and purpose. My aim is not to unearth imperfections within the framework of modern science, but rather to explore the notion of a more expansive science capable of delving into consciousness and spiritual encounters. Central to our discourse shall be the concept of consciousness. I propose to examine consciousness as an intangible, irreducible facet of existence, a perspective not universally embraced in the current scientific milieu. Recent materialistic works, exemplified by publications like Daniel Dennett's Consciousness Explained, and the Nobel laureate Francis Crick's What the Soul Really Is, present contrasting perspectives. Crick's book, in particular, boasts a thought-provoking title for a staunchly empirical scientist. However, Its opening sentence makes a bold declaration. The astonishing hypothesis posits that there is no soul. The soul is nothing more or less than the neural processes within our brain. The issue at hand has spurred a wealth of publications authored by scientists who make unequivocal demands. A pivotal moment unfolded in April 1994 during a significant gathering of natural scientists under the banner, "Towards a Scientific Explanation of Consciousness." It was Francis Crick who, with unwavering conviction, declared, "For over 2,000 years, philosophers have engaged in speculation about consciousness, yielding meager results. It is time for them to exhibit humility and relinquish the subject to us, the scientists." His assistant, Christoph Koch, took it even further, declaring that the era was ripe for a comprehensive assault on the enigma of consciousness. Now, the philosophers, mystics, and transcendentalists find their last bastion contested, as they are stripped of their final argument against the prevailing rationalistic worldview. Throughout history, whenever scientists proclaimed to have unraveled all the grand mysteries, whether it was the enigma of matter, the birth of the universe, the origins of life, and so forth, they could always quell the scientific fervor by invoking the riddle of the human mind or consciousness. Consequently, scientists are now driven to elucidate consciousness solely within the realm of material substance. Particularly from the ranks of computer scientists engaged in the realm of artificial intelligence, a fervent assertion prevails: sooner or later, they will fashion a machine endowed with intelligence surpassing even that of humans, accompanied by a natural consciousness. Marvin Minsky, celebrated as the high priest of artificial intelligence, ventured to declare that the machines they would create would reach such heights of intellect that we might find ourselves fortunate if they retain us as their cherished companions, akin to pet dogs. In this context, he went on to opine that philosophy amounts to a peculiar ailment of the mind. Another philosopher deeply engrossed in the exploration of consciousness counters the materialistic outlook with his renowned thought experiment known as the Chinese Room. As science forges ahead, there might come a day when we can envision the creation of a machine we might term a cerebroscope, one capable of dissecting the intricate structure of a human brain. Let's say, Mr. Jones's brain. The pattern extracted from Mr. Jones's brain could then be transposed into a computer, endowing it with the capacity to replicate all the functions of Mr. Jones's mind, provided it is seamlessly linked with his sensory faculties. The computer would replicate precisely the information processing framework found within Mr. Jones's brain. However, the pivotal question emerges: would the Jones computer also house the consciousness of Mr. Jones? In an attempt to address this inquiry, Professor Searle crafted the illustrative case of the Chinese Room. Within this scenario, a person sits within a room, methodically shifting slips of paper from one container to another, guided by straightforward processing rules. In this laborious manner, this small mechanism would eventually mimic the operations of any computer, including the Jones computer. For instance, this contraption could respond to inquiries posed in the Chinese language, formulating replies in Chinese, despite the individual orchestrating the paper shuffling, the core of this elementary computer, possessing no proficiency in speaking, thinking, or even comprehending Chinese. Undoubtedly, he would lack the Chinese consciousness that a person who can fluently reply to Chinese questions would possess, someone capable of effortlessly passing the Turing test. Professor Searle's deduction is that the Chinese Room may indeed successfully navigate the Turing test for recognizing an intelligent machine, yet it remains devoid of the consciousness intrinsic to its operations. Thus, we are presented with three systems, each equipped with identical information processing structures: the human brain, the computer, and the Chinese Room, which simulates the functions of both. The ensuing question, then, emerges: among these three systems, which one truly harbors consciousness? Daniel Dennett posits the following proposition: in order to dispel the veils of mysticism and spiritualism, we ought to embrace the notion that the brain is essentially an information processing apparatus. The question has been posed on numerous occasions, yielding a diverse array of responses. A student once contended that if consciousness were present in one of these systems, then it ought to exist in all of them, for they are, in fact, indistinguishable. To assert that one possesses consciousness while the others do not, one would need to elucidate the unique principle within that particular system, notably the human brain, which engenders this differentiation, given their identical material foundations. Indeed, Professor Searle arrived at a crucial verdict. He postulated that within the human brain, there must exist a causative principle that binds consciousness to its myriad processing functions. The fundamental query arises: is it the mere movement of electrons that acts as the catalyst for consciousness, or does consciousness instead emerge as a distinct trait of intricate systems? Daniel Dennett offers a decidedly materialistic resolution to this enigma. He advocates for contemplating the brain as a computer driven by a specific software. This software conjures a virtual machine that operates on the brain's hardware, endowed with qualities distinct from the human brain itself. This virtual machine operates at a sluggish pace, with one function succeeding another, akin to the progression within our own consciousness. Building upon this notion, he ventures into an audacious definition for consciousness. It manifests as a software virus, infecting this virtual machine. Now, we stand at the crossroads, confronted with two divergent paths for grasping the nature of consciousness. In one direction, consciousness is perceived as being either identical to or entirely contingent upon the functions of the brain, encapsulated by the maxim, no matter, no mind. On the other route, consciousness is acknowledged as an adjunct quality or distinct substance, transcending the realm of brain activities. In this scenario, consciousness would not be solely tethered to the functioning of the brain but could potentially exist independently, even in the absence of an operational brain. Instead, it would interact with the brain through an, as yet undiscovered, mechanism. In such a framework, consciousness would persist as an unassailable, non-material facet of existence, presenting the intriguing challenge of elucidating how these two distinct substances might harmoniously interact. Intriguingly, Dennett initiates his work, Consciousness Explained, with the proposition of a single guiding principle, a dogma to be upheld throughout his discourse: the rejection of the dualism between matter and consciousness. Although he concedes that his arsenal of arguments might be less than robust, he finds it a formidable challenge to conceptualize how a non-material consciousness could seamlessly interact with material matter without transgressing the well-established laws of physics, such as the conservation of energy and momentum. However, should the dualism between matter and consciousness be discarded, with consciousness regarded as an emergent property of matter, indistinguishable from and wholly reliant on matter, a seismic shift occurs. The teachings of all spiritual traditions and religions would inevitably fade into the realms of illusion or misconception. Embracing this dogma would create a significant hurdle in navigating the terrain of religion and spirituality, potentially leading to intricate challenges in the domains of ethics, morality, and the bedrock principle of responsibility. At its core, free will, the cornerstone of responsibility and ethics, would find itself on shaky ground. Should we wholeheartedly embrace the materialistic dogma, there would be no room within the realm of science for these vital concepts and subjects. This alliance with materialism could be held accountable for the growing chasm between science and humanity, a divide that is already gathering momentum. Jacques Monod, a fellow Nobel laureate in the realm of molecular biology, expounded in his tome, Chance and Necessity, that humanity must awaken from a millennial reverie, acknowledging its profound solitude and its profound enigma. The realization dawns that our position is akin to that of a nomad on the cosmic periphery, where the universe remains insensate to our melodies and unperturbed by our transgressions and tribulations. Such is the inexorable outcome of an unswerving materialistic perspective: a sense of alienation, an underlying estrangement, and the ensuing subjectivity of all aspirations, tribulations, and moral transgressions. I once engaged in a conversation with a biologist who ardently endeavored to persuade me that the sole divine law was none other than the law of the jungle. Two distinct avenues lie before us. One, the path of aligning consciousness with matter, thereby affirming that we, too, are bound by the material world. The alternative is to embrace consciousness as something spiritual or non-material, a realm that eludes a purely material-based science. In this realm, consciousness may remain untethered by the confines of birth and death, leading us into the diverse territories of various religions and spiritual traditions. At the plane of pure logic, we find ourselves externally bereft of the means to differentiate between a conscious and an unconscious system. I'd like to conclude this section with a short anecdote involving a renowned figure in the field of artificial intelligence. During an interview with a journalist, he confidently asserted his ability to construct a machine surpassing human intelligence within his lifetime. When asked whether this machine would possess the consciousness of a human being, he promptly replied with a resounding yes. The journalist, not easily dissuaded, continued his probing and asked how this remarkable feat could be demonstrated. The AI luminary pondered for a moment before delivering a rather unconventional response. He couldn't prove that a common toadstool wasn't, in fact, an intergalactic spaceship that had covertly landed on Earth for espionage purposes. Following a pause, he reflected on the peculiar ingenuity of his reply and then conceded that, in reality, he couldn't even provide conclusive evidence that anyone possessed consciousness, except, of course, for himself. The ultimate lesson drawn is that the journey to comprehend consciousness must commence within ourselves. We all perceive ourselves as sentient, living entities endowed with free will, rather than as preordained automatons wholly subject to the dictates of natural laws. Thus, we should, from the very outset, cast aside the cloak of materialism. Returning to the inception of my discourse, with an ardent desire to fathom consciousness as an irreducible non-material essence, it's worth noting that some philosophical perspectives, like the one articulated by Roger Penrose in his renowned work, The Emperor's New Mind, espouse a contrary viewpoint. They envisage consciousness as an irreducible quality of matter, a philosophy termed irreducible materialism. Nonetheless, this standpoint, too, merits rejection. Now, let's delve into the indicators that bolster our proposition that consciousness is of a spiritual nature, independent of the brain, and holds a higher station than matter, among other facets. These clues are scattered across various domains of science and human experience. One intriguing clue emerges from the realm of modern quantum physics, developed in the early decades of the 20th century by luminaries like Werner Heisenberg and Erwin Schrödinger. A gaze into the worldview proposed by quantum theory reveals a captivating narrative. Matter seems to slip through our fingers. Within the Heisenberg formulation of quantum physics, we encounter a particularly captivating facet. In this variation of the Copenhagen interpretation, two distinct strata of description surface. On one plane, the Schrödinger equation meticulously delineates the methodical, deterministic progression of the wave function. However, coexisting with this deterministic wave function, we encounter the ephemeral actualization of that wave function, a realm of uncertainty. The wave function, in essence, delineates what can be quantified. It doesn't articulate the electron as being in a definite location with a precise momentum. Rather, it encapsulates the likelihood of detecting the electron at a specific place when its position is measured, or as possessing a distinct momentum when subjected to a momentum measurement. These probabilities are meticulously defined through calculated probabilities. When a measurement is conducted, it essentially plucks one tangible occurrence from the myriad possibilities, manifesting that particular potential, often referred to as the actualization or the collapse of the wave function. In the act of measurement, we handpick a solitary branch from within the expansive wave function. As Heisenberg aptly articulated, physical events aren't elucidated by the wave function. Rather, they materialize as the very actualizations of the wave function. These actualizations stand as the fundamental constituents of our physical reality, for they represent the tangible, authentic occurrences in the world of our physical experiences. As the wave function advances in its deterministic trajectory, there's an absence of true happenings. Nothing genuinely creative takes place. Everything following this deterministic path is already foreordained by the initial conditions. Time, in such a scenario, merely unveils an array of fresh possibilities. However, it is through the unpredictable actualization of the wave function, a facet not encapsulated by the equations themselves, that the element of chance makes its grand entrance into the realm of science. The future remains an open realm of possibilities. It is precisely in this space that consciousness finds its unique niche, as the actualization of the wave function consistently hinges on a measurement, a process intrinsically linked with the act of bringing observed facts into one's conscious awareness. Distinguished physicists such as Eugen Wigner, Henry Stapp, and others expound an interpretation of measurement in quantum physics that posits it as an interaction between matter and consciousness. To articulate this more precisely, the physical event or the actualization of the wave function, wherein one of the potentialities is elected to materialize in our physical reality through a specific measurement, is, at its core, an interaction uniting matter and consciousness. Henry Stapp has further elaborated on this notion, extending it into a comprehensive model that encompasses the brain and its intricate interplay with consciousness, as delineated in his book. Stapp posits that the brain must ultimately be elucidated within the framework of quantum physics. He contends that when we employ the Schrödinger equation on a specific state of the brain's wave function, one that aligns with a particular perception of ourselves and our surroundings, it generates a spectrum of diverse possibilities for how we may perceive ourselves and our environment in the days to come. Determinism yields to a more malleable landscape, transforming the brain into an open system. Subsequently, through the actualization of the wave function, one possibility is selected. Stapp views this event as akin to a conscious act, much like the decision to, say, move a finger. In this manner, our consciousness, our very selves, breathe life into the brain's wave function, converting the nebulous state of the brain into a tangible reality aligned with a particular perception of ourselves and a specific conscious deed. His perspective on the quantum physical measurement process posits it as an interface where matter and consciousness harmoniously interact. If we were to dismiss this conscious influence, we'd be compelled to elucidate the mechanics behind this selection process. Does it truly hinge on chance, as often portrayed in our educational materials? Should we embrace this notion, we would simultaneously concede that all our decisions are mere happenstance occurrences. Our free will would then transform into a concealed variant of a random procedure, and the autonomy and supremacy of the conscious self would appear as a mere mirage. A quantum physicist from Freiburg, Professor Primus, dedicated his research to this very issue and laid out 6 compelling theses in a paper. Presenting his work at a conference commemorating the legacy of Erwin Schrödinger, his third thesis boldly proclaims, "Chance is the deus ex machina of molecular biology." The scientific status of inherent chance remains a subject of ambiguous clarity. In classical mechanics, there exist no inherent random occurrences. Everything unfolds along deterministic paths. In quantum mechanics, the fundamental probabilities are intrinsically context-dependent. Chance doesn't stem from a deficit of causality or a lack of comprehension, but rather from the emission of an experimenter's free will. This experimenter possesses the capacity to opt for distinct experimental setups that are mutually exclusive. This freedom of choice is inherently rooted in their consciousness and not contingent upon any physical system. Yet, in a mechanistic model like quantum theory, the essential quality, their free will, is regrettably omitted, necessitating the introduction of chance. In the past century, chance was often regarded as a measure of ignorance, an absence of knowledge regarding the actual causes. In contemporary times, chance has transcended its former role and is embraced as the ultimate causal factor for all occurrences. In another passage from his work, Chance and Necessity, Jacques Monod emphatically asserts that chance, and nothing but pure chance, is the instigator of all innovative developments in this universe. Meanwhile, the prominent physicist Wolfgang Pauli delved into the concept of introducing chance in biology, contending that the model of evolution endeavors to maintain the theoretical exclusion of all ultimate processes in nature. To compensate for this exclusion, chance had to be incorporated in some form or another. If we opt not to ponder questions concerning purpose, sense, or goal and instead replace terms like finality with causality, we find ourselves obliged to accommodate the introduction of chance in our model of reality. But why should we confine ourselves to this particular path? Another intriguing scientific clue arises from the experiments conducted by Yan and his team at Princeton University. They employed a device to generate random impulses, both electronically and mechanically, and presented the outcomes of these random signals to a diverse array of test subjects. These individuals sat before the display and were instructed to willfully influence the display's results in a specific manner. Some were directed to aim for a maximal number of impulses, while others were tasked with desiring the contrary outcome. In the graphical representations, it becomes apparent how the curve depicting the frequency of random events correlates with the intent of the individual observing and attempting to shape the outcomes in a particular direction. The statistical deviation from the standard distribution is significant and has been substantiated to be unrelated to the observer's physical proximity to the location where the random signals were generated. Furthermore, it has been demonstrated that even signals created, for instance, a day prior, can be influenced in the same manner. While there are numerous such hints from the realm of physics, I'd like to transition to the domain of neurophysiology. Within the realm of neurophysiology, numerous publications expound on the materialistic perspective regarding the relationship between the brain and consciousness. However, there are a select few publications that deviate from this stance, exemplified by Sir John C. Eccles. Eccles, who, in collaboration with Sir Karl Popper, famously published The Self and Its Brain in 1974, has authored a new book, How the Self Controls Its Brain, in partnership with German quantum physicist Friedrich Beck from Darmstadt University. In this latest work, Eccles elucidates the existence of microprocesses in the brain, particularly within the synapses, that regulate the brain's information processing functions. These microprocesses serve as the interfaces between two neurons and cannot be aptly described by classical physics. Instead, they must be apprehended as quintessential quantum processes governed by certain probabilities. When a nerve impulse courses through the axon of a neuron and reaches the synapse, it has the potential to trigger an excitation, liberating neurotransmitters that transmit the impulse from one neuron to another. These neurotransmitters are ensconced within tiny vesicles, arranged in a lattice-like configuration. Professor Beck's calculations have revealed that the energies required to release a vesicle from this lattice are so minute that they must be comprehended through the lens of quantum physics. These processes are not entirely determined by precise physical conditions. Ordinarily, such an excitation unfolds with a probability of around 20%. However, Eccles illuminated how the self-conscious mind has the capacity to momentarily elevate this probability to 1/3 or even a half, effectively ensuring that every second impulse leads to an excitation. He outlined how this model aligns seamlessly with contemporary neurophysiological experiments. Indirectly, it was substantiated that a conscious intention, such as the desire to move a finger, can trigger an augmentation of the excitation probability, pushing it up to as much as 1/2. This intriguing concept implies that the self-conscious mind possesses the ability to govern the brain's information processing functions by engaging with the dendrites in the neocortex at the quantum level. Throughout this remarkable book, Eccles delves into numerous intricacies, daring all materialists to counter his lucid theory of the interplay between the brain and consciousness. In the concluding chapters of his book, he proffers captivating insights stemming from a lifetime dedicated to rigorous brain research. Just as quantum physics has facilitated the introduction of consciousness as an additional epistemological category in physics, a contemporary trend in biophysics holds the promise of achieving a similar feat in biology. Quantum physics not only provides a framework for incorporating consciousness but also offers insights into its interaction with matter. Similarly, the modern exploration of the spontaneous light emission from the cells in all living systems, known as biophotons, offers compelling grounds to reintegrate consciousness into the realm of biology, enabling a more comprehensive understanding of the enigma of life. Furthermore, it furnishes valuable clues for elucidating the interaction between non-material consciousness and the material body. Biophotons, often referred to as quantums of light, are emitted by the cells within every living organism. These intriguing emissions, prior to their rediscovery by Professor Fritz Popp from the University of Kaiserslautern, were known as ultraweak cell radiation and were commonly regarded as byproducts of various physical or chemical processes occurring within the cell. Professor Popp aptly named them biophotons, underscoring their profound biological significance. Notably, this radiation is approximately 18/10 times weaker than ordinary visible daylight, akin to the luminosity of a candle discerned from a distance of 20 kilometers. It's important to differentiate biophotons from bioluminescence, as the former exhibits remarkable sensitivity to diverse external influences and intrinsic alterations within the organism, rendering them an invaluable indicator for such influences and changes. The paramount evidence attesting to the biological significance of this radiation lies in its remarkable coherence. It manifests as light with an extraordinarily elevated level of order, resembling a form of biological laser light. Owing to its unwavering intensity and exceptional order, it has the capacity for interference, giving rise to effects that are unattainable with conventional light. Consequently, it can engender order and serve as a conduit for the transmission of information. A tangible confirmation of this quality of coherence is the experimental observation that the decline of the so-called induced biophoton emission takes on a hyperbolic pattern. A plethora of indications strongly suggest that the entire organism harnesses the coherent field of biophotons to regulate its functions across various hierarchical levels. This field appears to serve as the central governing authority within the cells, and intriguingly, the cells also appear to communicate through the medium of this holographic field of standing waves. The remarkable holographic field serves as a conduit for transmitting a wealth of information, encompassing a wide spectrum of frequencies and polarizations. It travels at the speed of light, swiftly disseminating data to all parts of the body where it's needed to activate, modulate, or even generate biochemical reactions and structures. The source of this radiation appears to be the chromatin within the cell nucleus. Calculations have demonstrated that the spiral DNA molecule is an optimal instrument for storing light. Initially, this light originates from the sun, which we acquire through ingestion, visual perception, and our skin's interaction. Notably, it is the coherent facet of sunlight that cells predominantly absorb. To delve into a more profound exploration of Vedic physics, let's continue our examination of the unique attributes of biophotons, which could hold a significant role in the interaction of various levels of reality. Biophotons are part of an electromagnetic field situated precisely at the laser's threshold. This threshold demarcates the transition from the chaotic realm of conventional light to the profoundly organized domain of laser light. At this boundary, a pivotal phase shift occurs, shifting from thermal equilibrium to a crystalline, structured photon field imbued with novel and crucial properties. This field extends well beyond the confines of thermal equilibrium. To achieve laser conditions or laser light, it is essential for the source to have more electrons in an excited state than in the ground state. This results in emitted light possessing a high degree of structure and order, akin to a crystal. Biological systems cleverly maintain their biophoton field in the vicinity of this threshold, marked by F=1. By doing so, they can harness the advantages of both coherent and incoherent modes with minimal energy expenditure. This strategic positioning allows them to swiftly transition between these two modes. The chaotic mode proves valuable for inducing changes, fostering creative developments, and facilitating healing, while the coherent mode plays a pivotal role in organizing and structuring the system. Let's delve further into the additional attributes of these two modes, be it in the context of light, energy, or matter in general. In the chaotic mode, the system's behavior is dictated by localized interactions, aligning with the particle-like state of energy. Conversely, the ordered state functions in a collective, wave-like manner. The field measured in the chaotic state exhibits high intensities, while the coherent state is primarily marked by exceptionally low intensities, making it challenging to measure. The coherent state is intricately linked with biochemical reactions, while the coherent field encompasses the potentiality of these biochemical processes. In the chaotic state, molecules, cells, organs, and even entire organisms amalgamate into a singular entity, and their long-term interactions span extensive distances. In contrast, the chaotic individual state operates in short-time intervals over limited distances. Life, and particularly the biophoton field, resides at the boundary between these two states, creating a state of minimal uncertainty. If you liken the two opposing states to the yin and yang principles of the Chinese I Ching, then the bipolar state of the biophoton field embodies the bipolar state of the Tao. It manifests as the physical state of a wave packet at the intersection of matter and vacuum. These two poles bear both actualized information and potential information, with the latter indicating only the possibilities of specific physical events. They can be likened to the dynamic state of dissipative structures as discovered by Prigogine, bridging the material and conscious aspects of reality. In the Vedic system of knowledge, the two poles are symbolized by the elements earth, water, and fire, representing the material pole of manifested matter, and ether, representing the potential information underlying this manifested realm of physics. The Vedic concept of ether comprises vibrational states or sounds, which convey both information and its meaning in relation to the senses of living beings. This meaning finds expression in terms of the first-person perspective, such as sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. In this way, the bipolar state aligns with the active processes of perception, extracting meaning from the manifested space-time matter and transforming information into physical structures. The third area of research I'd like to briefly discuss is the field of near-death experiences, NDEs, and reincarnation research. Within this domain, there is a substantial body of evidence supporting the non-material nature of consciousness. Many hospitals have doctors who have encountered NDEs through their patients' accounts. In numerous cases, patients who were pronounced clinically dead during a medical procedure, for instance, were successfully resuscitated. Following their successful resuscitation, many of these individuals were able to provide remarkably detailed accounts of the technical aspects of their reanimation. Dr. Michael Sabom conducted a medical study involving heart patients and confirmed the hypothesis that during their periods of unconsciousness, they had out-of-body experiences. These out-of-body experiences suggest that consciousness can perceive without relying on the body's senses and central nervous system. The only plausible explanation for this phenomenon is that the conscious self had, in fact, temporarily separated from the physical body. I have had the privilege of hearing first-hand accounts from 4 trustworthy individuals who shared their extraordinary out-of-body experiences with me. In this realm of study, a wealth of systematic information is available. However, the unfortunate reality is that many scientists dismiss this research as unscientific due to their pre-existing ideological convictions, as it simply does not align with their established worldviews. Dr. Ian Stevenson dedicated his life's work to an extraordinary aspect of this research. Until 1988, he delved into over 2,500 cases where individuals, predominantly children, spontaneously recalled intricate details from past lives. Among these cases, he conducted a comprehensive examination of 881 of them, conclusively establishing that in 546 instances, the identities claimed by the children in their recollections indeed corresponded to real historical individuals. Rewriting this passage creatively underscores the remarkable scope of Dr. Stevenson's investigations and the remarkable evidence he uncovered. In each of these cases, Dr. Stevenson methodically dismissed all other potential explanations, leaving the compelling conclusion that these individuals truly held the memories of past lives. Furthermore, these cases strongly imply that consciousness endures beyond the demise of the physical body, serving as evidence of its non-material nature. One possible inference is that the biophoton field serves as the apex of a hierarchical regulation system within our bodies, perceivable by our material senses. However, it provokes the question of whether there exists yet another field, more subtle than the biophoton field, that exerts control over it. By scrutinizing the properties of the biophoton field, we may glean insights into the nature of this more refined, underlying field. If not, conventional scientific methodologies would be unable to provide any insights into such a field. The general theory of relativity directs our focus toward the properties of space itself, the structure of which can be likened to the ancient concept of the ether. This antiquated notion of the ether aligns with contemporary models of the quantum vacuum or the zero-point energy of the vacuum state. Altering the space-time curvature due to electromagnetic or gravitational influences could potentially modify the energy density of the vacuum. The vacuum might constitute the portion of the human aura that remains detectable through physical methods while being directly perceptible to exceptionally sensitive individuals. It's plausible that consciousness can affect the vacuum itself. Maclay posits that this occurs via a phase shift, causing the field's average intensity to deviate from zero. Max Planck found himself captivated by the intriguing behavior of photons, a fascination that stemmed from their unwavering commitment to choosing the most efficient path toward their destination. In his contemplative musings, he postulated that this innate preference for the shortest route might be indicative of an underlying teleological principle or a form of inherent intelligence guiding the intricate dance of these particles. The coherent states of the biophoton field, in their remarkable nature, embrace a realm of minimal uncertainty, seamlessly merging the attributes of both particle and wave, thereby weaving a harmonious tapestry that beautifully intertwines the dual facets of light's essence. These enigmatic entities appear to embody the very essence of energy's structural and informational dimensions, suggesting that they might serve as a profound conduit to the realm of consciousness. In this visionary perspective, they become the intermediary through which the spiritual domain can be glimpsed within the tangible world, a channel for its interaction with the material. Professor Popp ardently maintains that the macroscopic dissipative structures, as unearthed by the Nobel laureate Elia Prigogine, offer an intriguing avenue to transmute the implicit order into the tangible manifestation of space-time matter, unveiling the intricate dance between the abstract and the palpable. In a captivating twist of scientific insight, Prigogine's dissipative structures reveal themselves as nothing less than the grand tapestry of macroscopic quantum states. Within this revelation, the very principle of Heisenberg's uncertainty relation resurfaces, extending its welcoming hand to consciousness, allowing it to entwine with the very fabric of physics. Thus, the macroscopic quantum states of the coherent biophoton field resurrect the doorway for consciousness to partake in the intricate choreography of the universe, where the dance of uncertainty and revelation knows no bounds. I had the privilege of participating in a captivating international symposium on biophysics held in Neuss, an event orchestrated by the esteemed International Institute for Biophysics under the visionary leadership of Professor Popp. During his illuminating introductory discourse, I posed the very question that had been burning within me, and his response resonated with unwavering clarity. He painted a compelling vision of how this burgeoning frontier in biophysics promises to usher in an era where the indomitable force of consciousness becomes an integral facet of the biological realm. This groundbreaking paradigm shift offers the promise of an entirely novel comprehension of life and the intricate systems that define it, where the paramount essence is consciousness, and where purposeful, teleological behavior unfolds as a hallmark feature, waiting to be unveiled. The lecture that left an indelible mark on me was delivered by a distinguished virologist from Israel, who, intriguingly, had also partaken in the seminal conference in Arizona, delving into the fusion of consciousness and science, all while bearing the profound influence of the renowned Alexander Gurwitch. With incisive precision, he eloquently illuminated the prevailing enigma in contemporary biology, a veiled and formidable taboo. In the world of science, physicists can openly profess their spiritual inspiration, discussing the intricate interplay between spirit and matter. They can venture into territories where phrases like world mind or universal spirit are articulated without fear of tarnishing their professional reputation, basking in the synergy between the tangible and the ethereal. Yet, paradoxically, in the realm of biology, expressing even the slightest sympathy for vitalistic concepts or voicing vitalistic perspectives immediately casts one adrift from the scientific fold. Such sentiments are often labeled as anti-scientific, or at best, consigned to the realm of mysticism. In the present day, this constitutes a formidable and enduring taboo. The essence of vitalism, succinctly defined, resides in the conviction that the intricacies of living processes elude complete reduction to the established tenets of physics. It proposes the addition of a unique dimension to the conventional epistemological framework of modern science. In this expanded perspective, alongside properties such as mass, charge, and momentum, lies the fundamental attribute of self-awareness, an acknowledgement that an entity is not only subject to the laws of nature but also possesses the profound capacity to perceive and respond to its own state, transcending the boundaries of conventional scientific dogma. Within his vitalistic framework, he held consciousness in the highest esteem, guided by two compelling motivations. First and foremost, he marveled at the existence of free will within living systems, a profound facet that defied reduction to mere mechanistic processes. Second, he recognized that consciousness served as the unifying force, weaving the intricate tapestry of intention and other intrinsic features into the fabric of basic biological phenomena. In his contemplations, he beckoned science to broaden its horizons beyond the confines of explaining reality solely from a third-person perspective. His visionary stance implored science to embrace the presence of a first-person perspective, one that introduces an inherent asymmetry into our scientific narratives. This, in essence, posed the quintessential enigma of science. How does a system come to fathom and be aware of itself, forging a bridge between the objective and the subjective within the intricate web of existence? This emerging realm of scientific inquiry and the fresh paradigms it ushers into the epistemology of science bestow upon us a remarkable opportunity. It invites the integration of hitherto overlooked, yet profoundly fundamental aspects of reality into the embrace of scientific exploration. Another captivating avenue that illuminates the prospect of a non-material existence for the self lies in the rich tapestry of accounts from mystics and transcendentalists spanning various epochs and cultures. These mystics, who traversed the boundaries of time and tradition, did not embark on a theoretical quest for the essence of self as we do today. Instead, they ventured inward, conducting a profound inner experiment to discern the true nature of their identity. Their quest revolved around the profound questions of their genuine self, whether it possessed an existence beyond the confines of the physical realm and the constraints of their corporeal vessels. Each of these intrepid souls embarked on a meditative odyssey, one that unfailingly led them to the profound realization that they were distinct from their physical vessels. In the sanctum of their contemplation, they unearthed a conscious identity that transcended the corporeal confines of their bodies, and even delved deeper to uncover an identity that surpassed the limitations of their material minds. When we embark on a sweeping comparative journey, threading together the experiences of saintly individuals and mystics spanning a kaleidoscope of cultures and epochs, a resounding and resplendent harmony emerges. It resounds with an undeniable consensus. Consciousness stands unburdened by any material mooring. It shines forth as a pure spiritual phenomenon, an ethereal essence that constitutes the very core of our eternal, immortal selves. These revered saints charted the course for an intricate spiritual science, a profound system that unravels the mysteries of the self and the evolution of consciousness. Their wisdom is encapsulated within the pages of books penned by some of these luminaries. A treasure trove of knowledge awaits those who delve into these sacred texts. This reservoir of wisdom flows not only through the ancient Vedic tradition of India but also finds resonance in other venerable traditions like the Kabbalah. It's a wellspring of insights into the spiritual realm, insights that hold true and can be verified through the earnest journey of self-realization undertaken by a sincere seeker. Nobel laureate Professor B.D. Josephson ardently champions the incorporation of these transformative processes into the education of upcoming generations of scientists. His vision entails nurturing the consciousness of aspiring scholars, empowering them to explore these enigmatic phenomena through personal, first-hand experiences. At the inaugural World Conference for the Confluence of Science and Spirituality in 1986, held in the vibrant city of Bombay, Professor Josephson passionately declared, "These pioneering inquiries would chart an unconventional course within the realm of scientific exploration, distinguished by a unique facet. A substantial portion of this research wouldn't yield groundbreaking revelations. Instead, it would serve as a resounding confirmation of the timeless wisdom expounded by mystics across diverse spiritual traditions. This is because the landscape of spiritual science has already been meticulously cultivated. Time-honored sources such as the Vedas and the Kabbalah have charted explicit maps of the territories awaiting our exploration. Thus, the intrepid scientist venturing into this realm is less a discoverer of new frontiers and more an intrepid traveler reaffirming the profound truths that have echoed through the corridors of human spirituality for eons." The final wellspring of enlightenment to consider is the wealth of spiritual scriptures, each a radiant jewel within the diverse tapestry of global cultures. Whether in the heart of European traditions or nestled within the mystical wisdom of Asian and South American cultures, these ancient texts converge on a timeless message. They resound with the wisdom that we harbor an eternal identity, one that remains steadfastly spiritual and impervious to the capricious dance of material forms. In this profound perspective, our essence is rooted in consciousness itself. The body, in stark contrast, is but a fleeting vessel, subject to ceaseless change and ultimately, the embrace of mortality. Yet, consciousness stands as the unwavering observer of this ever-shifting tableau, eternally unscathed. It traverses through successive material identities, a voyage of self-realization until the seeker unearths the luminous truth of their authentic self. When we interlace these diverse realms of exploration, a compelling tapestry of evidence emerges in support of our hypothesis, the existence of a non-material conscious self. This mosaic of knowledge lays the foundation for an intriguing spiritual science, one dedicated to unraveling the uncharted territories of the self and its inherent reality. From the empirical realm, we glean insights through experiments, where consciousness exerts its influence upon physical events, as evidenced by the intriguing dance of a random generator. Quantum mechanics, with its enigmatic implications, hints at the profound role consciousness may play in the active measurement and in the intricate governance of the human brain. Meanwhile, the intricacies of neurophysiology reveal a compelling narrative, wherein consciousness potentially exercises control over its neural apparatus at the quantum level, orchestrating the symphony of neural excitations with an almost ethereal finesse. Yet, the most compelling evidence arises from our forays into the enigmatic territories of near-death experiences and the compelling stories of reincarnation. With bated breath, we delved into the sacred realm of spiritual culture, peering through the eyes of saints and mystics, while poring over the timeless wisdom etched into the spiritual scriptures of their cultures. Our expedition is primarily anchored in the profound wisdom enshrined within the Vedic knowledge, elegantly inscribed in the Sanskrit language. These ancient texts meticulously navigate the full spectrum of human knowledge, unraveling the intricate interplay of consciousness and matter, their intimate relationship, and the nuances of their interaction. Our quest is to harvest this timeless wisdom and transmute it into the language of modern science, infusing new vitality into the tapestry of human understanding and propelling the frontiers of modern science into uncharted dimensions. Allow me to unveil the essence of our vision for inspired science, a tapestry woven from two distinct, intertwining threads. One thread descends from the celestial realms, while the other ascends from the fertile soil of empirical experience. From the earth below, we grasp the tangible fruits of empirical knowledge, a direct communion with the intricate workings of nature. This, however, stands in stark contrast to the modern empirical method, a sophisticated and often intricate dialogue with the natural world, replete with its subtle complexities and nuances. In the realm of modern methodology, scientists deftly engage in a strategic dance with nature, employing artful tricks to coax forth her most guarded secrets. Their quest is often driven by a desire to acquire knowledge, enabling them to harness and even manipulate the forces of the natural world. However, our pursuit is distinct in nature. Our chosen path lies in the art of naturally naive observation. It's an approach that nurtures a profound transformation of consciousness, rendering it exquisitely attuned to the intrinsic essence of the objects under scrutiny. If our aim is to fathom the enigma of life, we must adopt a method that breathes life into our subjects of inquiry rather than extinguishing it. To comprehend nature, we must be vessels of perception, sensitive to the very pulse of its existence. When our target is the riddle of consciousness, our gaze turns inward, delving deep into the terrain of our own conscious nature, illuminating the phenomenon from within. It is a methodology that seeks not to conquer or subdue, but to intimately understand and harmonize with the profound mysteries of existence. Theodor Schwenk, a luminary in the realm of fluid dynamics, eloquently encapsulated this concept within the pages of his masterpiece, The Sensitive Chaos. He articulated the idea with grace. As we engage in naturally naive observation of the dance of wind and water, our very thought processes undergo a profound metamorphosis, rendering them uniquely poised to fathom the intricate tapestry of life. The crux of our quest lies in the nature of the knowledge we seek. Are we in pursuit of the profound truth, a wisdom that guides us toward living in harmonious coexistence with our world? Or do we harbor aspirations of knowledge that empower us to assert dominance over the very fabric of nature? In echoing Hans Primus's insight, captured within those 6 theses we've already explored, we're confronted with a stark dichotomy. The conventional scientific method often ushers us down a path that culminates not in the discovery of truth or a compass for our journey, but in knowledge designed to facilitate control and dominion. It's a quest to wield the power of calculation, to master nature for our purposes. Science, at its heart, is an ongoing dialogue with nature. It's a profound inquiry where the answers we receive are inexorably shaped by the intentions and motivations that underpin our questions. Picture for a moment someone inquiring about the valuables in your home, your nightly routines, or the security systems you employ. If this person, an unfamiliar figure, were to pose such probing questions, it's likely that you might not feel inclined to reveal the complete truth, especially when a sense of suspicion lingers regarding their motivations. The unsettling undertones behind their questions might give rise to a guarded response. In a parallel manner, when our approach to nature hinges on posing uncomfortable, invasive questions, it can similarly yield a specific type of knowledge. However, this knowledge may not align with the unvarnished truth. It's as though the fabric of nature herself, sensing our dissonant intentions, responds with a filtered version of her profound secrets, leaving us with but a fraction of her enigmatic story. Allow me to share a poignant and cherished quote from the eminent German philosopher and physicist, C.F. von Weizsäcker. Humanity embarked upon a profound venture with modern science, seeking to address a profound query: knowledge without love. Yet, true knowledge is forever intertwined with love, and in its absence, truth remains elusive. These words resonate with profound significance, for they illuminate a perspective that stands in stark contrast to the prevailing methodologies of contemporary science and philosophy. Weizsäcker's insight invites us to reconsider the very nature of our relationship with the objects of knowledge, revealing an intimate connection that transcends the conventional boundaries of inquiry. It's a vision that underscores the profound interconnectedness of knowledge and love, suggesting that without the presence of the latter, the former remains incomplete, devoid of the profound truths that await our embrace. How does one extend love to the neutrons, electrons, and galaxies that shape our perception of the natural world? What pathway can we forge to establish this bond of loving knowledge with nature? These questions beckon us to contemplate the underlying understanding of nature encapsulated within Weizsäcker's statement. It's a perspective that invites us to view nature not as a mere assortment of impersonal particles and cosmic bodies, but as a living, interconnected tapestry, a reflection of profound interrelations that demand our reverence and appreciation. Tomorrow, we shall delve further into the realm of this alternative European science, a domain pioneered by luminaries like Victor Schauberger and others. This exploration promises to reveal how we can bridge these insights with the timeless wisdom enshrined in the Vedic scriptures, forging a deeper, more harmonious communion with the natural world. Yet, the very essence of our inspired science, the beacon guiding our path, draws its life force from a wellspring of wisdom far beyond the empirical realm. This source is none other than spiritual knowledge, descending from a transcendent plane to meet us at the juncture where we strive to forge this novel science. These founts of wisdom are inherently non-empirical in their nature, yet they bestow upon us a treasury of insights into potential experiences that presently lie beyond the scope of our senses, illuminating uncharted vistas of understanding. In this sacred quest, we draw from a wellspring of holy scriptures and ancestral wisdom, firmly rooted in ancient spiritual traditions. Our aim is to descend into the realm of this knowledge through the transformative channels of spiritual realization, a journey that allows us to embrace and internalize this spiritual wisdom through the lens of our own profound experiences. Within the Vedic tradition, a rich tapestry of yoga paths unfolds, each offering a unique avenue for the scientific realization of this sacred knowledge. The inspired science we seek finds its haven betwixt these two currents, where the direct perception of nature converges with the realized spiritual wisdom, uniting on the practical plane of experience and understanding. It's a harmonious fusion, where empirical exploration and spiritual revelation intertwine, birthing a profound union of knowledge and insight. I wish to illuminate the remarkable journey of an American physicist, Katja Walter, who undertook a pioneering quest that harmonized traditional wisdom from the Taoist tradition with contemporary insights. In her exploration, she interwove the ancient oracle of the I Ching with the intricate tapestry of the modern genetic code. This unique convergence of knowledge opened doors to profound revelations. Through the union of these two distinct forms of wisdom, she unearthed captivating insights that promised to enhance our comprehension of the enigmatic bridge connecting the chemical underpinnings of our existence with the ethereal realm of our thoughts and experiences. Her intriguing book delves into how these two facets of human knowledge find their nexus in the intricate dance of deterministic chaos, offering an intriguing glimpse into the interconnectedness of our material and mental worlds. Let us embark on an exploration of how we encounter the intricate tapestry of reality that surrounds us. Heinrich Hertz delved into this contemplation and unveiled an intriguing perspective. He postulated that as we engage with the world, we're not merely passive observers. Instead, we craft a mental image, a representation of the world that we wholeheartedly identify as the reality itself. These images, aptly named Hertzian pictures, emerge through the interplay of the three fundamental functions of consciousness. These functions of consciousness prove elusive within the confines of a mechanistic model. Nevertheless, they find a home in this mental portrayal. The first among them is the perceiving function, a passive and receptive facet that tunes us into the world that unfolds around us. The active facet of consciousness takes the stage as the executor, birthing our desires and intentions through a spontaneous outpouring. This is where spontaneity reigns. Yet, poised between the active and passive aspects lies the realm of rationality, a bridge that weaves perception and reaction into a harmonious tapestry. This is the thinking function of consciousness. In harmonious symphony, these three functions, perception, thinking, and action, unite to craft an intricate portrait of reality. It's a seamless fusion, an intricate dance where the cognitive function of consciousness identifies this mental canvas as the world we know. Attempting to dissect these functions in isolation proves elusive. Their essence is intertwined, each defined only in the context of its relationship with the others. In this essence, Heinrich Hertz described every science as such a portrayal of reality, a unique perspective that sheds light on the grand tapestry of knowledge. In the profound perspective of Heinrich Hertz, a picture of reality is deemed valid if the logical journey it takes through the labyrinth of our thoughts ultimately yields another portrait, one that resonates with our perception of reality. This implies that the deductions and inferences that our minds draw from a representation of the world are, in themselves, an accurate reflection of the world. This notion underscores a striking correlation between the laws that govern nature's evolution and the cognitive processes that mold our mental images. When these two intricate dance together in harmony, a valid picture of reality emerges. It's a testament to the profound interplay between nature and the human intellect, where the resonant cadence of their correspondence paints a vivid tapestry of knowledge. I'm eager to delve into your presentation of the space cone, a fascinating graphical depiction of space where consciousness, unbound by the constraints of material time and space, manifests as a singular point. Within this framework, the three distinct functions of consciousness unfurl as dynamic forces that influence, structure, and give birth to space. In this way, these three functions emerge as the architects of the spatial domain where every facet of science finds its place, dwelling within the beautifully intricate tapestry they craft. Within the realm of this unique space cone, the three dimensions, or directions, take shape. These dimensions are the axioms, products of the perceiving function, the terms, born from the executive function, and the laws, postulated by the thinking function of consciousness. Together, they compose the very framework that underpins our understanding of science, rendering it a picture of reality with this intricate and fundamental structure. Hertz's insights extend to the concept of clarity within a picture. According to his rule, one picture surpasses another in clarity when it reveals a more extensive array of essential relationships among the objects of reality. In the construction of our picture of reality, we possess the liberty to narrow our focus to the fundamental relationships that bind the objects of our perception. These essentials may encompass aspects like spatial distance or relative mass, crafting a specific framework of measurement. Yet, This intricate tapestry isn't limited solely to these physical aspects. It extends to the multifaceted realm of human interactions, where emotional bonds like affection or indifference unfurl as additional vital threads, enriching our portrait of the world. These diverse relations intricately weave another tapestry, crafting spaces with distinct measurements and unique qualities. In these varied relation spaces, we find ourselves navigating the labyrinth of human interactions, each with its own dimension and essence. In this way, we're presented with an array of Hertzian pictures of reality, each capturing a specific facet of existence. As we examine and contrast these different pictures, we gradually converge towards a limit picture, H.P. Lim. This limit picture stands as a comprehensive tableau that encapsulates all the essential relationships of reality. At this juncture, the line between theory and direct experience blurs. This ultimate picture, H.P. Lim, harmonizes seamlessly with the very fabric of reality. The upper segment of the diagram symbolizes the inner space, the realm of consciousness, a domain encompassing the mind and the subtle body, replete with perceptions, desires, intentions, feelings, and thoughts. However, our focus today lies not in the realm of psychology but in the realm of natural science. In this intricate depiction, the lower realm symbolizes the outer space, which too is meticulously structured by the fundamental functions of consciousness. According to the philosophical insights of Immanuel Kant, space emerges as the Vorstellungsform, the very mold of imagination, of the executive function. This implies that we, as beings, envision our intentions in relation to the external reality, crafting these intentions within the canvas of space. Conversely, time serves as the governing principle for the perceiving function, orchestrating the chronological sequence of events. Matter, a connective force, bridges the realms of time and space, taking shape through the laws that align with the rational function of consciousness. In this intricate analogy, the very architecture of the outer space, comprising time, space, and matter, is an outgrowth of the space of consciousness, an extension of the profound interplay between inner and outer worlds. In this intricate spatial tapestry, time and space emerge as the poles, while matter gracefully weaves itself between them as a mediator. Professor Lang, a philosopher of our era, aptly coined the term existential time to describe the unity of space, time, and matter. This existential time harmoniously aligns with the cognitive function of consciousness, interweaving the profound interplay between these elements. Before we venture deeper into the exploration of the material aspect of this diagram, which shall unveil the realm of natural science, let's further navigate the distinctions within the multifaceted concept of consciousness. Consider the analogy of a book, a remarkable artifact that unfurls a unique journey. This book, a tangible object with its weight and pages adorned with meticulously arranged symbols, is a physical realm of our encounters. Yet, as we delve into the act of reading, an extraordinary transformation occurs. Within the confines of those pages, we awaken to the essence of the book, to the profound meaning it harbors. Reading takes us on a voyage into the realm of consciousness, endowing us with an awareness of the written words and their significance. This awareness transcends the materiality of the book, accessible to anyone who possesses the gift of reading, for the shared meaning transcends individual experience and unites those who partake in this journey of comprehension. The enigma lies in whether the profound sense and meaning of the book reside within the physical confines of the object itself. Evidently, they do not, for someone who is fluent only in the Chinese language or someone who lacks the ability to read altogether cannot extract the essence of the book through any physical measurements or assessments. Gazing at its physical attributes or conducting statistical analyses on the distribution of letters within the text shall yield no insights into the text's meaning. So, how do we, as readers, access this significance, this sense that we encounter while immersed in the act of reading the book? Upon deeper reflection on this example, a crucial element emerges, one that we may have overlooked initially. If we limit our contemplation to the book and its reader, focusing solely on the physical act of reading, the generation of meaning remains elusive. To unlock the secret of how meaning unfurls, we must also embrace the presence of the book's author, an integral component in this equation. The author serves as the bridge that connects us, the readers, through a shared language and a certain level of consciousness. In this intricate interplay, meaning blossoms, for it is the author's intent, skillfully woven into the text, that breathes life into the words and imbues them with significance, allowing us, the readers, to traverse the tapestry of their creation. A profound connection binds us, the readers, to the author. It's not merely a connection through the language that both author and reader share, but a profound communion of consciousness. We must align our understanding of each word in the text with the meanings that the author intends for them. Only then can the intricate process of reading ignite the spark of meaning within our consciousness. As we navigate the pages of the book, a remarkable dialogue unfolds. We, the readers, engage in a silent conversation with the author through the book as the intermediary. Through this conduit, the profound significance of the book gradually unfolds within our consciousness, creating a shared experience that bridges the realms of author and reader. This analogy beautifully mirrors our perception of matter. As individual conscious beings, we seek to fathom the essence of matter, but the question lingers: how do we truly perceive it, unravel its meaning? Here, meaning transcends the realm of physical properties such as mass and momentum. It extends to the sensory qualities that we directly experience through our senses: taste, smell, form, sound, and touch. Consider, for instance, a rose, with its distinctive fragrance. Yet, this ethereal quality, the very essence of the rose's scent, finds no basis in the mere physical properties of the rose's material form. How then do we, as perceiving beings, engage with and perceive the intricate quality of the rose's fragrance? Indeed, this quandary is a classical philosophical conundrum. It delves into the intricate interplay between material forms and the emergence of conscious experiences imbued with subjective qualities, such as the delight of a fragrant smell. In its essence, this question mirrors the enigma of how the act of reading breathes life into a written text, generating meaning. Yet, like in the realm of literature, we must not overlook the presence of the author or the shared stratum of consciousness that unites all sentient beings. It is on this profound level, one that exists beyond the tangible material world, where the intricate code for the relationship between material form and sensory meaning is etched, weaving a profound tapestry of interconnected existence. While it may not be a perfect analogy, it serves as a valuable lens through which we can explore the intricate process of perception. To fully appreciate and embrace these parallels, we must engage in profound contemplation, delving deeply into their nuances to determine if they indeed hold merit as valid comparisons. In this endeavor, we expand our perspective. We move beyond the boundaries of individual consciousness and delve into the realm of universal consciousness. Here, all individual conscious selves find their interconnectedness, and it is this universal consciousness that forges the intricate bonds between individual consciousness and the seemingly inert material forms. This broader view completes the intricate tapestry of perception, inviting us to explore the profound interplay between the individual and the collective, the conscious and the material. Much like our individual consciousness weaves through our physical being, shaping the intricate connection between body and self, the universal consciousness, often referred to as the universal observer, permeates the vast expanse of cosmic matter. It serves as the cosmic architect, sculpting the profound relationship between matter and spirit on a grand scale. The universal consciousness unifies all individual conscious beings in a collective tapestry, where the shared capacity for perception and consciousness is a universal birthright. This unity is born of our collective participation in the universal consciousness, which, at its core, is not fundamentally distinct from matter itself. Here, the boundaries blur, inviting us to ponder the interwoven dance of the individual and the cosmic, of consciousness and matter. Just as our bodies are interconnected through the material energy that encompasses them and serves as the medium for communication, the notion of our existence on a spiritual plane implies a connection on that very plane. This spiritual connection is intrinsically akin to our nature. It is conscious and embodies selfhood. In essence, it is a conscious self like ourselves. In Vedic terminology, this universal self is referred to as the Paramatma, or the Super Soul. The functions of our individual consciousness are, in essence, integral components of the universal functions of this paramount conscious self. The tapestry of consciousness unfolds across both the microcosm and the macrocosm, where the individual and the universal interlace in a harmonious dance, reflecting a profound interconnectedness that transcends the material realm. The foundational categories that shape our understanding of reality do not stem from the finite faculties of our individual consciousness. Rather, they are brought forth by the conscious operations of the universal self, often referred to as God. Our communion with this universal self occurs through the medium of matter. Put simply, in our current state, we experience the divine through the natural world. In our present condition, our perception of reality is interwoven with matter. Yet, there exists the remarkable prospect of direct spiritual experience, where we can perceive the spiritual reality unmediated by matter, or, in another mode, we may encounter it through nature itself if nature becomes a translucent vessel for the recognition of the divine. I am deeply convinced that when Carl Friedrich von Weizsäcker spoke of knowledge without love, he was alluding to precisely this. For how can one cultivate love for the objects of our sensory perception without recognizing the personal or conscious facet of reality? Love thrives on the interplay and connection between conscious beings, and it is solely within the realm of consciousness that the personal dimension of existence emerges. To embark on the path of spiritual science, we must first acknowledge the conscious backdrop, the very source and origin of nature. This recognition becomes the cornerstone upon which we establish a loving, harmonious relationship with God. In this embrace of the personal and the divine, we pave the way for a spiritual science that delves into the profound mysteries of existence. Drawing upon Vedic concepts, the terms earth, water, fire, air, and ether are unveiled as metaphors that elegantly symbolize the processes responsible for both the material structures and the mental perception of these structures. These metaphors offer a holistic lens through which to comprehend the intricate interplay of processes and structures. This profound insight reverberates across various scientific domains, from quantum physics and chemistry to the morphology of living organisms and the realm of medicine, all rooted in the foundational functions of consciousness. Erwin Schrödinger, in his illuminating work, Mind and Matter, underscores a fundamental challenge that plagues modern science, an issue that springs from the age-old Cartesian dualism that cleaves matter from mind. This dualism is evident in the pursuit of characterizing the material attributes of an objective world, one ostensibly independent of any conscious observer. When we marry this notion of objectification, a hallmark of scientific inquiry, with the overarching aspiration for the completeness of the scientific worldview, a profound conundrum unfolds. We find ourselves confronting the paradox of perceiving our own conscious self as an integral component of this supposedly objective external realm. In reality, this world is a construct of our own cognition, pieced together from the sensory experiences that weave the tapestry of our awareness. In this complex interplay of consciousness, we grapple with the very essence of our existence, pondering the intricacies of our place in the objective universe. This duality between matter and consciousness gives rise to two significant implications. The world as described by our scientific theories appears starkly colorless, silent, devoid of fragrance, and stripped of sensory qualities. The quest to pinpoint the precise juncture at which matter and consciousness intersect proves to be an elusive endeavor. Modern physics often paints a picture of an inert, unconscious substance, aptly labeled as matter, a concept that can be neatly accommodated within a mechanistic, mathematical model of reality. In contrast to this prevailing perspective, this discourse will offer a brief exploration of three fundamental theses concerning life, matter, and consciousness. These theses challenge conventional wisdom, inviting us to probe the intricate connections between these essential elements. 1. Matter and mind are born from a shared conscious source, an ultimate reality that underpins all existence. 2. Matter, rather than being a mere material process, embodies a life process, teeming with vitality and purpose. 3. Energy, in its essence, is imbued with the very essence of life, a life energy forever entwined with consciousness, inherently subjective in its nature. To surmount these challenges, we must reframe our understanding of matter and its perception as two facets of a singular process. In this dynamic unfolding, the primal conscious energy evolves over time, giving rise to the objects of our perception and the act of perceiving them, both occurring in unison. These various stages of evolution in this process find resonance with the classical elements within the Vedic alchemy, serving as valuable metaphors that shed light on even more intricate processes within the realms of biology and medicine. This paradigm shift begets a cascade of profound inquiries in the realms of philosophy, psychology, and linguistics. However, for the present discourse, the primary focus is on the fundamental tenets of physics, where these transformative concepts ripple through the fabric of our understanding. In the metaphysical framework of the Vedas, reality unfolds with a duality, consisting of a manifested and an unmanifested facet. In modern parlance, this duality can be likened to an implicit and an explicit order, where the orchestration of this order is attributed to the guiding hand of intelligence, an attribute inherently rooted in consciousness. At the heart of this profound schema lies the underlying implicit order that governs both the physical and the mental realms, known as buddhi. By its very nature, buddhi embodies consciousness. Within this element of buddhi lie polar vibrations, the subtle undercurrents of existence. These vibrations, depending on their reference, can either manifest as the objects of perception when connected to the conscious whole, or as the very act of perception itself when aligned with the individual conscious self. In this intricate interplay, the dual nature of reality and consciousness unravels, opening doors to deeper understanding. In Diagram 1, our journey commences with these vibrational frequencies, which collectively form the ethereal space. These vibrations serve as bearers of information, intricately intertwined with their meaning. This meaning is inextricably tied to the potential quality of perception, a reception through the senses of a conscious observer. Within the framework of our five senses, this meaning takes shape and finds expression in the categories of sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. Here, the rich tapestry of sensory experience unfolds, guided by the resonance of these underlying vibrations, bridging the gap between the ethereal and the experiential. The primal duality of implicit and explicit orders resurfaces once more, this time on the level of information, where it takes shape as actual and potential information. In this diagram, we glimpse an interpretation of the intricate structure of information processing through the lens of modern quantum physics. It is worth noting that various alternative interpretations could be drawn across diverse levels of understanding, spanning the electromagnetic fields of living organisms, the neural net pattern reconstructions proposed by Mitya Peruz, Prigoghine's dissipative structures, and more. These multifaceted interpretations provide a comprehensive vista, each offering a unique perspective on the intricate dance of information in the tapestry of existence. Actual information springs forth through the culmination of a wave function's actualization, while potential information is intimately connected to the ever-evolving wave function of a physical system. To transmute potential information into its actual form, a process of actualization is required. This process can be likened to the subtle quality associated with the element of air or touch. Touch, as the ethereal aspect of the element of air, embodies the very essence of this actualization. Moreover, this touch, the quintessence of actualization, can be simultaneously equated with the inherent meaning of this transformative shift. This meaning can be dissected through the prism of the sensory qualities related to the elements, sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. In this intricate interplay, the alchemy of information unfolds, translating the abstract potential into the tangible actual. Within the realm of the Vedic element ether, information and its meaning coalesce as two distinct qualities, carried by the ethereal vibrations, notably sound. The potential information, as embodied by the wave function, aligns with the element of air. Air, characterized by its intangibility, encapsulates all the higher hierarchical influences that impact our perceived system. It's essential to recognize that potential information doesn't exert strong determinism over the behavior of a physical system. This is because any mechanistic portrayal, whether in the form of Schrödinger's equation or the insights of Vedic physics, must inherently emit non-mechanistic influences. These include the presence of free will, driven by non-causal conscious decisions, the intricate workings of the law of karma, and the unfathomable will of the divine. In this intricate tapestry, the dance between potential and actual information takes place, encompassing both mechanistic and non-mechanistic forces. The quantum state, once actually measured, dovetails seamlessly into a classical portrayal of the physical reality, a three-dimensional space characterized by the continuity of matter, fields, and particles, as expounded in the framework by Fridtjof von Weizsäcker. Within this continuum, the element of air serves as an enigmatic interrupter, subtly orchestrated by the guiding hand of the informational platform rooted in the Vedic ether. In this intricate interplay between the classical and the quantum, the essence of the material world unfurls. According to the profound insights of Vedic wisdom, the three-dimensional physical reality finds its foundation in the harmonious interplay of the three fundamental elements: earth, water, and fire. Within this framework, matter emerges as the dynamic surface structure that weaves together the fabric of time and space. Time, symbolized by fire, governs the unfolding processes that give birth to three-dimensional space. This process takes the mesmerizing form of a chakra or a spiral, weaving the intricate tapestry of our reality. Space, embodied by Earth, encompasses the canvas upon which the drama of existence unfolds. Water, nestled between these elements, plays the pivotal role of the intermediary, harmoniously connecting time and space in a symphonic dance of creation. In this elegant choreography, the essence of the universe manifests. In this intricate symphony of elements, fire embodies the simplicity of one-dimensional linear movement, igniting the fundamental spark of existence. Water, with its graceful two-dimensional spiral motion, weaves the intricate tapestry of life's dynamics, creating patterns and rhythms. Earth, the anchor of three-dimensional double rotative movement, manifests the complete fusion of space, time, and matter, ushering in the richness of the physical world. The fourth element, air, acts as the subtle orchestrator, maintaining harmony and balance. From this elemental dance of movement and the guiding influence of air, a plethora of diverse natural structures emerge. The periodic table of chemical elements comes into view, unveiling the inherent unity within the realm of matter. A foundational categorization of elementary particles is revealed, providing insight into the building blocks of the universe. The basic particles and orbital arrangements in physics take shape, elucidating the mechanics of the material world. Cosmological dynamics unveil the grandeur of the universe's evolution. A novel perspective on the concept of evolution arises, driven by the interplay of these elemental forces. The exquisite forms and dynamics of biological systems are unveiled, offering a profound understanding of life's intricate dance with the elements. Within the realm of Ayurveda, the metaphors of the elements play a pivotal role in comprehending both the physical and mental constitution of individuals. These elemental concepts offer valuable insights into the intricate balance of one's being. Additionally, in the realm of the energetic body, the same dynamic principles are explored through the lens of prana, shedding light on the flow and vitality of life force. To formulate a mathematical framework capable of describing these morpho-energetic structures, we must venture into the uncharted territory of a mathematics of qualities. This mathematical approach transcends mere quantification, delving deep into the qualitative essence of numbers, encapsulating their inherent meanings and significance. It provides a holistic perspective, merging the quantitative with the qualitative, enabling a profound understanding of the intricate dynamics that govern our existence. The mechanistic paradigm of science draws a distinct line between the physical and mental dimensions of reality. It steadfastly resists the acknowledgement of intelligent elements that resist reduction to mere mechanistic systems governed solely by physical properties. In contrast, quantum physics provides a framework for understanding reality that transcends this rigid division, offering a description of the universe that embraces both the mental and physical realms. It paints a portrait of a holistic cosmos where the inclusion of irreducible personal consciousness is not a metaphysical appendage but an integral part of the tapestry of existence. As I delved into the realm of quantum physics, it triggered profound contemplations about spirituality, particularly the enigma of consciousness. To genuinely engage with modern quantum physics, moving beyond its function as a mere computational tool for predicting material system behaviors, necessitates an exploration of consciousness. To address the fundamental question of what is matter is intrinsically linked to resolving the parallel query of what is consciousness. Both inquiries are interwoven and essential to deciphering the intricate tapestry of reality. Even the most eminent physicists, who had probed the depths of quantum physics, found themselves grappling with the elusive question of consciousness. Consequently, I embarked on a quest for alternative avenues to explore the enigma of what is consciousness. This led me to immerse myself in spiritual studies and practices within the Vedic tradition, delving into the ancient Sanskrit scriptures of India. For nearly a decade, I devoted my life to these spiritual pursuits, seeking answers and insights. Now, after this extended sojourn into spirituality, quantum physics once again serves as a bridge. This time, however, it guides me on the journey back towards merging the profound spiritual knowledge and experiences I've gained with the contemporary scientific worldview. It facilitates the discovery of commonalities between these two systems of thought and knowledge and allows for the exchange of inspirations and insights between them. Within Vedic ontology, the concept of ahankara, or ego, plays a fundamental role in the process of creation. In the language of physics, it can be likened to the principle of limitation, delineating boundaries. Life harnesses this principle to craft a cell, enveloping itself with a membrane, thereby establishing a distinction between the inner and the outer. The foundational substance, or perhaps non-substance, from which Vedic ontology commences the grand narrative of creation is a field that defies easy categorization, for it resides as the wellspring of both matter and mind, yet remains distinct from each. This unified field, which I like to term the matter-consciousness field, possesses an inherent nature of activity, influenced directly by the passage of time. When the active processes within this unified field are constrained through the creation of boundaries, we venture into the realm of quantum physics. Consider, for instance, the initiation of a dynamic process such as an oscillation, propagating as a wave. When this process is constrained by the introduction of reflective borders, it gives rise to standing waves. If the wavelengths of the vibration align harmoniously within the confined space, a stationary structure or wave pattern materializes, aptly known as a standing wave. These stationary structures are referred to as the quantum states of the system. In cases where the wavelength does not harmonize with the constraints set by the borders, no observable stationary systems are generated. From this analysis, one can deduce the quantum conditions that establish a relationship between the wavelength of the vibration and the geometric parameters of the boundaries. These stationary systems, or quantum states, exist in isolation, as no other stationary systems occupy the intermediate regions, when different relationships between wavelength and spatial proportions are considered. The act of division, creating a border between parts, introduces another fundamental principle. The separated entities must either come into contact with each other directly or have a third object interposed between them. In the latter scenario, the intermediary component touches both of the other parts. The significance of touch has not escaped the attention of some scientists and philosophers. For example, Gerhard Haberle authored a book titled Die Berührung, The Touch, where he endeavors to distill all the laws of physics down to the fundamental geometric principle of touch. Philosopher Wilde expounds in an article delving into the nature of time that touch serves as the foundational principle requisite for constructing three-dimensional space. There exists a particular threshold beyond which it is impossible to bring different objects, coexisting within space, any closer to each other. Once they make contact, their proximity cannot be further reduced, unless their internal structures undergo alteration through their interaction. Consequently, an object's individuality, which is central to quantum physics, is intricately linked to the principle of touch. Touch is inherently quantized. It signifies that two objects either touch each other or they do not, a quintessential aspect of reality's quantized nature. In Vedic philosophy, a profound explanation is provided for the evolution of material elements. Guided by the influence of the power of boundaries that partition the matter-consciousness field, this field undergoes a transformation into the element ether, a realm characterized by information, language, and meaning. Ether, in turn, gives rise to the element of touch, which resolves the informational foundation in a binary, discrete manner. Touch represents the subtle manifestation of the element air, known as prana, closely intertwined with the wave function of quantum physics. Following air, the next stage is the emergence of form or geometrical space. This concept aligns with the understanding that touch plays a fundamental role in shaping the manifestation of space. Touch can be linked to the discrete events seen in quantum physics, particularly the quantum jumps, as it serves to connect and simultaneously separate quantum states. Moreover, touch holds a profound connection with consciousness, a facet we will delve into during the more structured discussion towards the end of this discussion. The interplay between creating boundaries and connecting with others is a fundamental characteristic that extends across matter, consciousness, and life. Life's very essence is built upon this polarity. It commences by establishing a boundary, akin to a membrane surrounding itself. Through this, it distinguishes the internal from the external, thus achieving individuality and system stability. Subsequently, the system must once more open up and engage with its surroundings, enabling it to forge a larger border and a broader opening. In this manner, life progressively unfolds more intricate systems characterized by an elevated degree of interconnectedness. Teilhard de Chardin eloquently captured this fundamental tenet of evolution with the phrase, "Higher existence means higher interconnectedness." Life inherently resides within the duality of identity, individuality, and isolation on one facet, while concurrently embodying communication and integration on the other. This duality corresponds to the interplay between ego or limitation and touch. The principle of touch finds a compelling illustration in a medical context. The quality of an energy or an object is a concept intrinsically tied to its relationship with consciousness and the associated personalities. In isolation, the world may be devoid of qualities, considered in its own right. However, when the world becomes relevant to personalities that perceive and interact within it, it assumes qualities. It can take on hues of green and yellow, radiate beauty, or even be judged as good or bad when we contemplate it within these categories. In the mechanistic scientific worldview, consciousness, personalities, or any form of intelligent influence from external sources have no place, and consequently, it cannot grapple with qualities. When we speak of light in scientific language, we can quantify its properties, discussing frequencies, brightness, velocity, and other characteristics. However, these descriptions do not truly convey what it means in the context of our immediate experiences. To transition towards a non-mechanistic science, one capable of embracing the qualities of reality, we must reinsert consciousness and personality into the scientific discourse. This reintegration is essential for a holistic understanding of the world. The term, mechanistic science, aptly describes the prevailing scientific paradigms and models in modern times. It encompasses the theoretical framework of contemporary physics, built upon measurement and calculation. At the heart of physics lies the foundational assumption that all phenomena find their origin in a fundamental substance known as matter. Within this mechanistic worldview, matter is deemed the ultimate reality, and it does not entertain the notion of external influences acting upon the closed system of matter. While physicists have proposed various theoretical descriptions of matter, awaiting a consensus on a definitive theory, they collectively share two fundamental characteristics. Matter can be numerically characterized, directly aligning with experimentally measurable attributes. The conduct of matter can be elucidated through mathematical formulations known as the laws of nature. The prevailing scientific paradigm today is profoundly mathematical, so much so that to those deeply immersed in this perspective, the abstract mathematics of physical theories often appear more substantial than the tangible phenomena these theories aim to explain. The implications of this standpoint are most pronounced when we consider questions like, what defines life? What is the source of life? What is the nature of the mind? And, what is the origin of the cosmos? Living organisms are portrayed as compositions of material constituents, emerging from preceding conditions solely due to physical mechanisms. The mind is essentially seen as a label for specific patterns of electrochemical activity within the brain. The universe originates from arbitrary processes occurring within an underlying field, often characterized as emptiness or simply void. Hence, mechanistic science relegates individuals to mere subpatterns within a fundamentally devoid universal pattern, where concepts like purpose or meaning in the realm of psychology are nothing but intricate behavioral arrangements. This discussion doesn't delve into all the implications and issues associated with mechanistic science. Instead, it focuses on the potential for establishing a connection to a non-mechanistic scientific worldview through the insights of modern quantum mechanics. Quantum mechanics can potentially serve as a conduit for acknowledging the mind and consciousness as indispensable elements of reality, shedding light on their connection to non-physical entities. From this fresh standpoint, life is envisioned as more than a complex web of molecular interactions. Carl Friedrich von Weizsäcker characterizes quantum mechanics as the most comprehensive theory capable of making predictions about future occurrences. This, in essence, aligns it with the requisites of a mechanistic theory of the physical world. Within his axiomatic framework for the foundations of quantum physics, the foremost postulate is the differentiation between past and future. The past is comprised of certainties, while the future encompasses potentialities. This distinction closely mirrors our lived experiences and is, according to Weizsäcker, a fundamental prerequisite for conscious experience. In the mathematical formalism of quantum mechanics, this distinction manifests as the concept of probability, linked to the potentiality of forthcoming events. Events unfold in the present moment. We can access past events as established facts through our memory or other methods. The past is immutable. It is an irrefutable fact. These facts are the present manifestation of the past, taking on a form known as Gegenwarts form. In contrast to the past, the future remains open, presenting an array of possibilities and alternatives. It represents a continuous spectrum of potential events, from which some will actualize while others will not. Within the present, one event emerges. In the present, a singular event is selected from this continuum of possibilities, subsequently transforming into a fact and thus becoming part of the past. In the present, the continuous spectrum of possibilities undergoes a continuous transformation, evolving into the discrete spectrum of the past. Time can thus be defined as the ongoing process that steadily converts the continuum of possibilities into the distinct array of facts. This process is what we refer to as the present, and it expands the set of established facts. Although the present may seem composed of numerous events, in actuality, it pertains to the awareness of the moment, representing a singular event. It is the act of becoming conscious for an individual, constituting a unified consciousness, and is symbolized in quantum physics as the actualization of the wave function. Classical physics established space as the governing framework for all physical entities, regarding time merely as a static ordering dimension. However, quantum physics upends this conventional view. Classical physics perceived the fundamental nature of objects as their spatial existence and embraced the idea of theoretically reversible physical changes. It placed a strong emphasis on matter's presence through its spatial extension. Quantum physics introduces a fresh perspective, where the three-dimensional space we perceive emerges from the temporal logic, acknowledging time's inherent asymmetry and the continuous process of physical reality taking shape as prerequisites for our experiences. In this viewpoint, time's irreversibility is intricately connected with the very act of conscious experience, a dimension often overlooked in classical physics. Quantum physics brings the concept of probability to the forefront and introduces an element of chance into the fabric of physics. The fundamental question revolves around what selects a specific outcome from the spectrum of potentialities. This selection cannot be attributed to the deterministic laws of physics or the mechanistic mechanisms, for if it were, there would be no distinction between past and future, facts and possibilities. Instead, this choice takes place in the present, driven by the dynamic process of time and is often labeled as chance by modern mechanistic science. In essence, they conflate time, chance, and the present, a conflation rooted in our incomplete understanding of the underlying causes. This interpretation aligns with the core definition of chance. It arises from our limited knowledge of the precise causal factors at play. Eugen Wigner presented the intriguing idea that the actualization of the wave function is orchestrated by the consciousness of the observer, effectively concluding the process of observation or measurement. While some critics argue that this notion lacks both theoretical and empirical substantiation, an increasing body of experimental evidence supports Wigner's hypothesis. Numerous experiments within the realm of quantum physics delve into the observer effect and offer compelling indications in favor of Wigner's proposal. A noteworthy instance comes from a set of experiments conducted by Robert Jahn and his team at Princeton University. These experiments yielded consistent and replicable outcomes within the typical scope of psychological research. Moreover, more recent findings from Princeton demonstrate a noteworthy, albeit slight, observer effect. Intriguingly, even when the observed signals, originating from actual alpha decay events, were stored on a computer disk for 3 months before being presented to the observer, a significant observer effect persisted. These remarkable findings were taken quite seriously by certain physicists, such as Henry Stapp from Berkeley. Stapp proposed a slight modification of the mathematical framework of quantum physics to account for these observer effects, which seemingly influence events in a retrograde or backward temporal fashion. These results align neatly with the ideas we've been discussing about the nature of time. Essentially, until someone observes the outcome of a physical process, it remains within the realm of possible events, which we refer to as the future. Even when a computer system records and memorizes a physical process, the wave function of the entire system appears to remain in a state susceptible to the observer effect. This challenges the notion that the reduction of the wave function is solely accomplished through the interaction of the quantum system with a macroscopic device. From these intriguing results, we can derive 3 significant conclusions. The progression of time in quantum physics appears to be contingent upon the knowledge and consciousness of all potential observers. Physical events occur only when a choice is made between the available facts and possibilities, which corresponds to an individual becoming conscious of it. However, it does not clarify who or what is making this choice. Time is not only the process responsible for selecting facts from the realm of possibilities, but it is also the process by which individuals consciously experience events. These conclusions underscore the necessity of accounting for the knowledge of individuals and the structure of their conscious experiences in order to construct a coherent model of physical reality. Personality can be understood as an ever-expanding repository of knowledge, intimately linked with an innate energy unique to the individual, which impels this ongoing growth. This distinct and individual energy may aptly be termed one's personality. In essence, a person is the bearer of such a reservoir of knowledge. This definition offers a more abstract and expansive perspective compared to our customary notion of a conditioned personality. Henry Stapp contends that incorporating irreducible personalities into physics does not inject another enigmatic element into the theory. Rather, this enigma is already embodied in the fundamental query: what determines the actual outcome of the individual quantum event? He writes, "The fundamental idea is that GVV, a generalized version of quantum mechanics, proposes expanding the array of mathematically described components within physical theory. This expansion includes the objective aspects of sensory and perceptual objects directly apprehended, along with the facets of absolute knowledge represented by the quantum wave function. The enigmatic facets of nature are thus concentrated within the personalities of various entities, which can, to some degree, be distinguished from their associated bodies of knowledge. Since quantum theory inherently features the inscrutable aspect embodied in the unanswered question, what selects what truly occurs in individual quantum events? There is no need to introduce extra inscrutability into the theory by incorporating individuals. Instead, we've broadened the scope open to mathematical description by distinguishing the knowledge possessed by these individuals. This knowledge, in principle, can be described independently of the personalities, which remain outside the bounds of our mathematical description. The unregulated stochastic elements in quantum mechanics can naturally be attributed to the unregulated and undefined personality factors of the GVV ontology. In his exploration of the Vedic ontology in connection with modern quantum theory, Henry Stapp conveys his interpretation of the ontological significance of the wave function. The wave function of quantum theory, if it is not just a computational tool for scientists but also a theoretical representation of an objective, externally existing counterpart, is perhaps best conceived as a portrayal of some facet of absolute knowledge. The wave function, without a doubt, does not depict substance in the conventional sense. It exclusively portrays probabilities, inclinations, or objective propensities for specific observation-type occurrences. These probabilities of observation-type events bear a resemblance to characteristics of the mind, rather than resembling concrete, unchanging realities. They reflect a quality of the natural world that leans more towards knowledge and anticipations than towards rigid, tangible existence. Moreover, the sudden transformation of the wave function into a new configuration, the collapse of the wave packet, when an appropriate observation-type event transpires, is a behavior that resembles a shift in knowledge rather than a shift in substance. Additionally, the fundamental concept of an observation-type event itself implies a shift in knowledge. Consequently, quantum theory effectively alters the scientific perception of the objective world from the classical mechanics image of a giant machine to that of a developing body of absolute knowledge. Quantum theory, in its capacity to be more than just a set of enigmatic computational rules, is entirely justified in reintroducing the notion of the divine mind into science, effectively reversing its exile that began with Descartes. In this interpretation of quantum mechanics, physical reality unfolds through the dynamic exchange between the universal body of absolute knowledge, often likened to the mind of God, and the individual repositories of knowledge, or the individual souls. The actualization of the wave function aligns with such a transfer of information or knowledge, manifesting as a distinct vibrational excitation and concurrently serving as the transference of a unit of meaning, encapsulated in the form of a quantum. This meaning is experienced as the harmonized transformation of knowledge within both the sender and receiver, akin to the absorption of a particle. Meanwhile, the transmission transpires through the undulating waves of vibration. At the atomic scale, this process unfolds through emission, akin to an atom's leap from one stable state to another. It's intriguing to consider that knowledge and consciousness might extend into the realm of the micro-world. At the human scale, one can experience this process when receiving an idea of an object. Such an idea has the power to shift a person's state of mind, altering their knowledge and perception of the world. It's a fascinating interplay between the quantum and the conscious. It expands the domain of mathematically describable elements in science since, in Weizsäcker's interpretation, quantum physics blurs the distinction between mental and physical events. He articulates it as follows: quantum theory is our framework for mathematical predictions. As far as I can become an object of my own understanding, I must be subject to quantum theory. This perspective bridges the realms of the subjective and the objective within scientific inquiry. Henry Stapp highlights the shortcomings of Bohr's classical description, which gives rise to numerous contradictions and paradoxes. He suggests an alternative approach. Instead of a classical representation, assign numerical values to the observable qualities and their perceivable rates of change at points in space. In this representation of material reality, the mental aspect, subtle matter, could be described using three-dimensional arrays of quantified sensible qualities, while the physical aspect, gross matter, would be represented with quantum concepts. This novel perspective seeks to reconcile the dual nature of reality. This approach bridges the gap between mind and matter. Weizsäcker's interpretation of quantum physics defines matter based on Gestalt, or form. It allows for the assumption that these Gestalten have the potential for consciousness. Consciousness exists in the form of possibilities, unconscious psyche, and in the Gestalt of factual reality. This perspective unifies the realms of consciousness and physical existence. According to Vedic ontology, as explored and discussed by Henry Stapp in the previously mentioned article, the foundational substance from which both mind and matter emerge is a matter-consciousness field, possessing the inherent potential to give rise to both material reality and the realm of consciousness as two interconnected processes. This field, known as the Mahat Tattva, manifests as individual minds in conjunction with individual consciousness, and also as the objective material reality in connection with the universal consciousness of a divine entity. c. It welcomes the impact of irreducible intelligence. In the mechanistic worldview, the creative process unfolds within the dichotomy of chance and necessity. However, quantum mechanics reveals that the process of creation is orchestrated by an implicit order, which embodies a fundamental intelligence. This intelligence is directed by an unmanifest consciousness and operates from the depths of a transcendental persona. Henry Stapp elaborates on this concept in the same article. This illustration serves to emphasize the notion that we are examining the act of creation as a phenomenon unfolding within the domain of absolute knowledge, rather than within the domain of a conserved substance. We are embracing a perspective where the entirety is regarded as a unified, personified, ever-expanding repository of absolute knowledge, possessing the capability to govern its own expansion. Moreover, it can generate, without diminishing itself, progenies enriched with particular segments of the parent's potentialities necessary for carrying out specific aspects of the parent's undertaking. This model of creation commences with the intentions of the Supreme Being, which then materialize through a hierarchy of processes. As one descends to lower levels of processing, these mechanisms can become progressively more mechanical in nature. d. It establishes a link between the molecular realm of life and a subtler, holistic dimension intricately connected with consciousness. The subtler manifestations of gross matter, such as photons and the quantum vacuum, exhibit a unique holistic nature as a direct outcome of quantum mechanics. e. It ushers personalities and their knowledge into the realm of science. Consequently, the qualitative facet of reality, defined solely through the interplay of the physical and personal aspects of existence, becomes amenable to scientific exploration. The qualitative nature of the universe finds its definition within the values and intentions of personalities. Hence, it is inherently a subjective facet of reality. Within a subjectivist interpretation of quantum mechanics, the objective and subjective dimensions of reality are two complementary aspects of nature that cannot be entirely isolated from each other. This framework may pave the way for the emergence of a new physics of qualities, rooted in the energetic connections between subjective experiences, personalities, and consciousness. In Vedic philosophy, consciousness is regarded as the fundamental reality. Inert and unconscious matter is not viewed as an independent substance but rather as a manifestation of veiled consciousness. Mind and matter are recognized as the dual aspects of the fundamental polarity within this world. They both arise due to the shaping influence of time emerging from the underlying field of consciousness, known as the Mahat Tattva in Sanskrit. The Mahat Tattva serves as both the unmanifested form of matter and, simultaneously, as inherently conscious in nature. Therefore, we can aptly refer to it as the matter consciousness field. This dynamic entity represents a combination of the two fundamental energies of the Supreme, the inert, isolated energy of material space, pradhana, and the conscious energy, Chit Sakti, encompassing individual spiritual souls as well as the universal consciousness of the Supreme Being, God. Under the influence of eternal time, these energies interact and give rise to a dynamic surface structure imbued with novel qualities. The dynamic surface structure known as the Mahat Tattva serves as the origin of both mind and matter. Consequently, the material energy emanating from the Mahat Tattva is a complex hierarchical structure consisting of internal, conscious, and external spaces, which interact with one another within the ethereal field or space. This intricate interplay unfolds within the etheric realm. The etheric space emerges from the Mahat Tattva when the dynamic processes and vibrations within this matter consciousness field are subjected to limitation. This principle of limitation, known as ahankara in Sanskrit, signifies the material ego, which establishes boundaries and delineates the unified field into distinct domains, each possessing unique qualities. Over time, this process transforms the initial field into a boundless array of vibrations, meticulously ordered in a geometric fashion. The vibration space gradually condenses into the ethereal field. Subsequently, this field undergoes a stepwise transformation into a sequence of the 5 elements, constituting gross matter. This densification process initially transmutes the element ether into the element air, then air into fire, fire into water, and finally water into earth, representing the densest form of matter. In parallel with this external densification of matter, the internal space of consciousness gives rise to the evolution of the mind. From a broader viewpoint, both matter and mind can be understood as internal conscious spaces that are interconnected with consciousness itself. The individual mind corresponds to the individual consciousness of the spiritual soul, while external matter relates to the universal consciousness of the Supreme Being. Individual consciousness, along with the consciousness of the Supreme Being, extends its presence throughout the entire material realm. Within the living entity, individual consciousness permeates the physical body via the subtle body, while the universal consciousness serves as the backdrop for the entire material creation. The concept that consciousness is diffused throughout the material body implies that various processes occur within the body that establish connections between the gross physical activities of the body, the senses, and consciousness. Modern scientific research has suggested that these processes may be associated with quantum effects at various levels of the physical system. Many of these models are intricate and cannot be comprehensively discussed here. To provide a glimpse of these ideas, let's briefly explore a model proposed by Serbian biophysicist Đuro Karuga, which was presented at an international conference on consciousness in Belgrade in 1995. In his paper, he distinguishes between subconsciousness, consciousness, and self-consciousness. Collectively, these aspects constitute our conscious experience, but they are rooted in different hierarchical levels of the physical system. At the deepest level, subconsciousness may be associated with microtubule water clusters. Within the quantum mechanical realm of microtubule water clusters, interactions within the interior of these tubes could involve the coupling of electromagnetic and gravity waves. It's on this level that the equilibrium between gravity and electromagnetic states, under the influence of weak environmental fields, might transition and influence the states and activities of subconsciousness. At a more intricate level of neuronal interactions, the subconscious processes may converge into conscious experiences. The synchronized actions of multiple microtubule clathrin interactions at synapses and dendrites, orchestrated through golden mean oscillations, molecular wave functions, form an extensive web of interconnected networks. This intricate web imparts a new dimension of information processing that we recognize as consciousness. Karuga's model proposes that coherent control of the quantum dynamics occurring within microtubule water clusters inside the tubular structure serves as the foundation for self-consciousness. In this model, quantum processes manifest on three distinct levels: the molecular, the cellular, and the brain, giving rise to three corresponding tiers of consciousness: subconsciousness, consciousness, and self-consciousness. It's essential to clarify that this perspective doesn't imply that consciousness is solely a product of physical processes. Rather, it underscores the interconnectedness of the physical and mental facets of reality through quantum phenomena transpiring at various levels. This notion aligns with the unique quality of quantum processes, which exhibit attributes that are both material and mental, as explored in a previous section. In Vedic philosophy, quantum processes find their correspondence in the element of air and its subtler manifestation, touch. This ethereal level of reality pertains to the three spatial elements: earth, water, and fire, which collectively constitute the foundation of all continuous physical processes and elementary particles. The intricate web of these three-dimensional components shapes the multidimensional structure of the physical universe, intricately linked to the underlying etheric field, an implicit order that orchestrates the material manifestation. Distinct dimensional levels within this intricate structure can be discerned through variations in their respective densities. The density of a specific material substance is intricately linked to the curvature of the corresponding energy flow. In our interpretation of the Vedic elements, fire aligns with a one-dimensional linear energy flow, water embodies a two-dimensional rotational energy flow, and earth represents a double rotative, three-dimensional energy flow. Collectively, these three elements interweave to shape the three-dimensional energy flow, responsible for engendering all atoms, elementary particles, and photons as stationary systems of flowing energy. The element of air encapsulates all the disruptive forces that intermittently affect this energy flow. It can interrupt, redirect, or bifurcate this flow in discrete ways. These distinct impulses are under the guidance of the underlying etheric information structure, which serves as the unmanifested intelligence governing the intricacies of material creation. The curvature of a particular energy system must be viewed in relation to an observer. Therefore, the degree of curvature needs to be compared to the size of the observer. What may appear significantly curved to a larger observer might seem almost linear to a very small observer. This small observer may not perceive the curvature because they only have visibility of a tiny portion of the entire energy flow. In this way, the various dimensions of the multidimensional universe coexist in parallel and interpenetrate each other. They can, in principle, be perceived by all living entities based on the abilities and refinement of their senses, as well as the advancement of their consciousness. As a living being's consciousness develops, they become capable of perceiving more subtle levels of reality. The following illustration provides a conceptual representation of how systems with varying curvature and size can be interconnected and constitute a single universal dynamic process. The entire system is overseen and guided by diverse intelligent beings positioned at different levels of the cosmic hierarchy, each in accordance with the extent of their consciousness development. All these custodians draw their power and authority from the Supreme Being, who infuses the entire creation with their consciousness. The Supreme Being is omnipresent, residing within every atom, while also taking residence in the hearts of all living entities. They accompany these beings throughout their countless incarnations in the material realm, guiding them on their journey. Residing within the core of every living being, the Supersoul diligently oversees their aspirations and deeds, harmonizing these with their karmic outcomes. In her various manifestations, she also governs the operations of the subtle body, including consciousness, ego, intellect, and mind. The Supersoul serves as the wellspring of all abilities and resources for the living entities, who rely entirely on her guidance and protection. By recognizing and embracing the presence and mentorship of the Supersoul, individuals can endeavor to ascend to the spiritual realm, liberating themselves from the entanglements of material nature. When the living entity forgets its divine connection, it deludes itself into believing in its independence and attempts to exert control over the material world through its own strength. Consequently, it becomes increasingly ensnared in the intricate web of reactions to its actions and becomes deeply entangled in the struggles of the material realm. The sole path to emancipation lies in recognizing its inherent dependence on the divine and wholeheartedly surrendering unto the Supreme. This process of devotion, known as Bhakti Yoga, is expounded upon in the Bhagavad Gita and various other Vedic texts. Moreover, it forms the quintessence of spirituality in all of the world's religions. Initiating this transformative journey is as simple as wholeheartedly invoking the sacred names of the divine, which are unveiled in various spiritual traditions across the globe. The Vedas, in particular, advocate the recitation of the Maha Mantra, a chant that comprises only the names of the Supreme: Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. These sacred vibrations have the power to purify the heart and uplift the consciousness, fostering a profound connection with the divine and guiding the soul on the path of spiritual awakening. The resonant echo of this spiritually potent sound harmonizes the desires of sentient beings, redirecting them toward the realization of the divine and the path of loving devotion. It works like an alchemical force, transmuting the illusory material ego of the soul into its true spiritual essence, an eternal fragment, forever destined to engage in the loving service of the Supreme. In this realm of unadulterated consciousness, one finds eternal wisdom and heavenly ecstasy, experiencing the sublime state of pure being. In the realm of the spiritual, sound and the divine are one and the same. There is no distinction between an object and its name at this transcendental level, making the name of God inseparable from God Himself. Through the heartfelt chanting of God's name, infused with love and surrender, one can awaken to their eternal connection with the divine and ultimately find liberation in his divine abode.